Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. We're making sure that the camera's working. Apparently the Federal Bureau of Investigation is organizing threats to Trump while we're trying to protect his life. So, we're in a battle. Constant battle. Have been since I got involved in politics, which started in 2007. Riots grow as euro set to fall. The euro is ready to fall. First, a little note from our advertiser. You all know I buy from Noble Gold when I can. Silver's way up. It seems to have finished its up, down, and up. But we'll see how they manipulate it in London. Whether the people who run the LBMA and the silver market are eliminated and they'll let silver run to its natural value, which should be around 800 and gold around 15,000. Anyway, every 6 years, forget it. The last 4 years, everything's double in price. We've got what we call 20% inflation. That's why they give the retired people 1% inflation. You know, Social Security to kill them. They want you dead. And so every 4 years, in the last 4 years, everything's doubled. $100,000 4 years ago is worth $50,000 today. Never seen inflation like this. The Democrats, the demons, are just going wild. And you see it every time you fill up your tank. You know, gas should be at the pump no more, including federal tax, of $2.15. Everything above $2.15 are state taxes to fund their National Socialist Society. It's gotten so bad in Washington State, most of the private companies are gone, so we suck off the government here in Washington State. We have so many illegals and refugees getting $8,000 a month, plus free dental, plus free medical, that they're driving around in their brand new Mercedes. We've already done videos on this. So everything's going to come to a standstill real soon as nation after nation no longer accepts the U.S. dollar. They want hard assets. They want plastics. They want chemicals. They want food. And we can't produce food because the Democrats have shut down all the food producing facilities. Thank God for Trump, he's allowing Wyoming to export coal to China. It's the only thing we are exporting to China. So anyway, the dollar's way down. The only thing that seems to be holding its value in our life is not the stocks and bonds, which can be taken away like that by the FBI, but gold, which we stash off-site. You can actually stash your gold in a vault at Noble Gold in Texas, and they watch it like a hawk. They take a picture of your gold and silver and send it to you. The only people who know your gold and silver are there are you and Noble Gold and the people who run the vault. No banks. If it increases in value, it's no biggie. You bought something and you set it aside. If it increases in value, you don't pay taxes first in, first out. You don't pay taxes. So if you spend $1 million on gold, or let's say 100,000, then the first 100,000 you pull out is not taxable. You can borrow on it. You can buy and sell right there. So anyway, they've been around for about 10 years. I will support Noble Gold because I can reach out and touch him. Anyway, in a study that's 2 years old that never hit the press, which blew my mind, 21 toilet paper brands have carcinogens in them. PFAS, nasty little fluorides that cause cancer. Causes so much cancer, they put it in your water. We use double filtered water. A zero water filter, and then Prepare with William has a big, huge brass water or stainless steel water filter, so we double filter our water. But we still take showers. We still get in contact with fluoride, which is as toxic as lead. So 21 toilet papers have the carcinogen in it. No wonder why prostate cancer, the hoo-hoo, skyrocketed. Or the cancer of the hoo-hoo. Anyway, riots in New York, San Francisco, and L.A. In New York, of course, now these are all pre-set up, paid for by the CIA and the FBI. They're getting bionic masks, which help with the ears, and they're getting gas masks, and they're getting water bottles and food being distributed to them. There's probably 20 people at each site, so 20 people walked into the Trump Towers. They were all arrested. Same people as walked into the Trump Towers 4 years ago. Same paymaster. They'll be put in jail, and then they'll be taken out of jail. The FBI will move in because they're the little the little slaves of the CIA. And then they'll be bailed out of jail to walk into the Trump Tower again and stand around and hold signs that say, do this, do that, because I'm getting paid by the FBI to do that. How do you know they're the FBI? Because they say they're paid by the FBI or the CIA. Because I almost got $1,000 a day to be a paid actor. I got all the way to somebody who lived across the street from the CIA headquarters, Mel. And then YouTube pulled all my videos because they're censored by the FBI. The head of the FBI's daddy ran the SS. Zig Heil killed 6 million people. The head of Rosenstein, his daddy, ran the Gestapo, Zig Heil. So the Department of Justice is the Gestapo, and the FBI are the brown troops, the SS. Zig Heil. You might as well Zig Heil, because Trump hasn't fired him. All he put in charge was a lying Kash Patel, who's a member of the bar and loyal to the British Authorized Registry. He's loyal to the Crown of England. He put in Bandingo, who had to swear loyalty to Lucifer to become a Secret Service agent. Good job, Trump. 2 people loyal to Satan, running the FBI. Let's just keep that SS going. So anyway, New York, San Francisco, and LA, they're all pre-staged. And then, of course, they're looting, murdering. They walk into a sushi bar, steal all the food, and steal the cash register itself with all the cash in it. What's the guy supposed to do? If he shoots at him, they arrest him. But they can have guns and shoot at the owner of the restaurant. Remember, the SS is the FBI. Zig Heil. Who do you think's handing out the masks? Who do you think's funding it? Huh? They fund the drug dealers. They give the guns to the drug dealers. Trump hasn't stopped that. 4 years in office. He knew about it. He hasn't stopped it. He hasn't eliminated the FBI fusion centers. Oh, they're good for drugs. Yeah, good for their own pocketbooks and drugs. So anyway, these riots are all pre-staged. They're going to accelerate on the 14th. They're going to try to say no gods or something like that, some stupid FBI symbol. They're going to come out, no dictatorship or some democratic demon symbol, and they're going to try to whack Trump on the 14th, which is Saturday. Have I been contacted for more details? Nope. Susie Wiles, if he dies, they're going to put you out in the street and run you over with a dump truck or maybe a steamroller. Not kidding. They'll put your hands out there first and they'll start running you over slowly. Till you, well, anyway, you think I'm kidding, Susie. Ha ha ha! Laugh all you want, you little demon. Anyway, my job is to keep him alive. The FBI job is to take him out. 2 Secret Service agents will participate with 2 more FBI agents who surround Trump and protect him. Don't trust anybody, President Trump. Nobody. You better bring in your own security for the 14th of June. Now, the riots started plus or minus 3 days of a full moon. That's how we know it's orchestrated either by the United States or the United Kingdom. Because every battle the United States and the United Kingdom has had since the beginning of time, unless they stumbled upon it, every major battle has been around a full moon. Every major battle has been around a full moon. Why? Because they worship Lucifer. So we know that the riot started 3 days before the full moon, and they're going to accelerate. The full moon is now, the 10th. So they're accelerating the riots, and we'll see what happens. California governor against it. Go ahead. Arrest me, Trump. Do it. And Trump didn't do it. And the LA mayor, who went all over the place on U.S. tax dollars, said, go ahead, President Trump, arrest me. We're going to have our riots. No dictatorship. I'm a demon and you can't touch me. You can't touch me. You can't touch me. Nah, 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 nah. That's what she's saying to Trump. And Trump's going, okay. What do you mean, okay? United States Code 18, it's your duty to arrest her. Under treason, it is the duty of the wimpoid Hagseth, the wimpy little piece of human garbage Hagseth, to issue an order to arrest the governor and the mayor for treason. He has to give it to the military police, and they're required to arrest him. Do you see Hagseth arresting anybody? No. Why? Because he's another demon. It's the only conclusion a logical man could reach. He's another demon. What about Department of Homeland Security? Holman. Who do you think's giving the FBI the money? All these non-government organizations, all the rioters got money from Department of Homeland Security, which under United States Code 5, Section 101 through 105, is the only department the president controls. So it is the president's own department that is funding these riots that are going to try to kill him. Now, I don't know if he's stupid or suicidal or just Susie Wiles keeps this information from him. But he needs a daily briefing from God, Susie Wiles, or he's going to end up 6 feet under. You stupid little chief of staff, hiding behind your demons, girly, a coward. It is the responsibility of the U.S. military to arrest those committing treason, conducting and funding riots. Those in the Department of Homeland Security who funded these organizations, the funding group, must be arrested, or we'd save hundreds of billions of dollars a year. You think I get a reward for talking about that? Nope. You want me to name the people in the Department of Homeland Security who want Trump dead? You wouldn't do a thing even if I did. So the 14th of June, they plan a major assault on Trump. The assault began, just like Gettysburg and Fredericksburg and all the major conflicts began plus or minus 3 days of a full moon and extended a week long. And how are they going to break the euro? This is why we have the dollar. Well, I'm glad you asked. The full moon offensive started on the 9th, plus or minus 3 days of a full moon. All hail their master Lucifer, United Kingdom leaders and U.S. leaders. CIA, primarily. The assault began on the 9th and it petered out by the evening of the 10th. Done. Over. Through. The Ukrainian assault on the full moon has died. First, they started out with 500 attacks on Russian infrastructure as far east as the Kursk, which is 5,000 miles from the battlefront. And then they hit up all kinds of nasty places. The job of the CIA and the Ukraine is to kill civilians, mass casualties. That's why they have used so many non-conventional atomic weapons. Mass casualties, mass land destruction. So it's petered out. So now Russia's hitting back with over 500 drone strikes last night. Everything that makes weapons and launches weapons. The United States has lost billions of dollars of weapons in the last 24 hours. Little drone comes in, lands, boom, hand grenade goes off, blows up a HIMARS missile, which blows up the entire missile battery. Well, there goes $100 million of your taxpayer money. Who cares? It's for WAR, right? Just blow the money. Give the Ukraine $3 billion every month. $1 billion. Every person who works gives the Ukraine $10 a month. This has been going on since 1992. 2002, 2012, 2022. That's almost 35 years at $350 a month. You've given the Ukraine, every business, everyone who works, has given the Ukraine over $10,000. So they can kill and murder. Don't you feel proud to pay your taxes? Anyway, so Europe, because U.S. aid is being terminated, Europe has lost about $5 billion a year in refugee pay. Now they got to make that up. That's $5 trillion a year. Plus, they guaranteed the Ukraine in the next few months $335 trillion. Remember, Maersk's from Germany, Starmer from England, Zelensky from the Ukraine, Macron, the new Macron, number 2, from France. All voted this in. And they're all sitting around snorting cocaine, and Zelensky comes out to meet him with his pants on backwards, and Trump wants to negotiate with Zelensky, a man who can't put his pants on straight. We got a problem here. So, Europe is losing $5 trillion a year in income from the U.S. taxpayer dollar because we have high inflation because of that. And because the Democrats have shut down food production, mineral production all across the United States. The mines, the farming, the cattle ranching, the fishing, they've shut it down and used HARP to boil the oceans. So our fishing industry is dying on the vine. The whales are dying because of NASA funding these ways of killing and destroying. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture funding and destroying. That's all the government does, is it destroys. It doesn't aid. Trump says we're going to give them more money. Why? They're going to kill and destroy. So Europe is out $5 trillion a year, plus the $335 billion they collected in debt for the COVID relief fund, which most of the businesses that got the money, I know a friend, not a friend, he's a ratfink, who took the money from COVID and rebuilt his houses. I know that the power company, Tacoma Power, took COVID money and paid their executives bonuses. The unions had to sue to get their COVID money. There were no arrests. So, $5 trillion missing, $335 trillion, increase in military spending to $1 trillion. They have a $20 trillion debt. It's actually about $40 trillion. They're spending almost $2 trillion on debt relief. So, and the we've covered the $365 billion. It's a third of $1 trillion they're giving to the Ukraine. Now, the European nations have been hit by their kings and their leaders with huge cuts in agriculture. The Queen of Holland and the Dutch Queen are killing cattle. They just get a kick out of shooting things and watching them die. They really do. You ought to watch the Park Service in their helicopters as they fly over Point Reyes. Oh, let's shoot a few more deer. Brrr, they machine gun them. They get machine guns, but we don't. They machine gun axis deer because they think the populations grow too much. They don't sell hunting permits. They don't give the food to the homeless. They just shoot them, watch them fall over, and then they fly over and watch them die. These people are perverts. The people we have hired in the government, many of them are really perverted, and they're just twisted in their thinking. It's who they are. You hire these people to fly over Point Reyes and machine gun them. Well, the queens are like that in Europe. The kings are like that. Now, King Charles is supposed to be running all this, but he's dead. So nobody knows who in 10 Downing Street is running it except MI5 and MI6. MI6 is the external, like the CIA. MI5 is the internal, like the FBI, the stormtroopers, the SS. They're run by somebody whose daddy was in charge of the SS. The apple does not fall far from the tree. That's why they don't respect the Constitution. Freedom, we'll take their guns away and then they can't speak out. We'll just round them up and shoot them, just like Gavin Newsom did when Christians refused to wear the masks. He rounded him up and put him in jail. Now he's saying, let the rioters burn the city down, kill honest citizens running a restaurant. Go ahead, Trump, arrest me. And Trump didn't do it. He never gave the order. Put me in charge of the Department of Defense. I'll smack those admirals around. They'll be following me in about 10 minutes. All I have to do is take out the Joint Chiefs of Staff Director. Boom. Because he's a little wimp. And the rest will follow in lockstep. They will arrest these traitors and put them in jail for life. But President Trump doesn't have the guts to tell Hegseth what to do. So either that or he's planned this whole thing. Maybe he wants one of his doubles shot on the 14th on Saturday. Maybe this is all planned so he can rise from the dead. Who knows? I'll tell you one thing. He doesn't care about the details because the details are here and the White House is 3,500 miles away. He doesn't care about the details, which seems odd if somebody's going to kill you. You don't care about the details? So it's all planned. Anyway, been doing this since 2007. Been right 4 times with Bush, 165 times with Obama. Nobody wanted Biden dead. And now 92 times with Trump. That's a pretty good track record. God's a whole 100% right. 100% right. If somebody says something and it doesn't happen, Don't listen to him anymore. So we're seeing a huge reduction, reduction in food and industrial output in Europe, a huge increase in debt payments to the tune of somewhere around 7 trillion more in debt. They're going in Europe. Of course, it's not covered under any economic situation. It's all under the table. And also, half the nations can't pay on their debt. Europe is losing another $7 trillion every year because half the nations can't pay the debt. Because Biden had the Federal Reserve System raise the value of the dollar, and all debt is denominated in dollars. So 50% of the nations can't pay their debt. So the Rothschilds are losing $7 trillion. So that's about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's about $15 trillion a year that Europe has to spend and raise their debt. Plus the normal debt, 5 trillion, so that's 20 trillion. That's going to cause pressure on the euro. Eurobond interest rates should shoot up, but nothing's normal anymore. The euro should begin to fall. We'll see how long half the world will put up with those shenanigans. So, 2 weeks after the euro falls, the dollar will fall. I can't believe how quickly it's happening. The primary input for Lucifer is Tokyo, London, New York City, Geneva, and Darjeeling. That's why the UN headquarters is centered in New York, London, Geneva, and they have a big center in Tokyo. Darjeeling, the Shiv temple, has a large landing pad where they're supposed to come in from the astral plane and then land here and screw with us. And again, Shambhala is the city under Camp David that Trump's listening to now. They're going to tell him what to do. Yes, Massa, yes, Massa. And then Shangri-La is the astral plane city hanging over Mongolia, which then brings people in through Darjeeling, India, which China wants desperately, which is why they're creating a WAR zone in that region. They want it desperately. Anyway, now you know the rest of the story. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? We're not allowed to show videos of the riots because the FBI would censor our video. In fact, most of my comments on my videos are completely censored. So now you know the rest of the story. Zig Heil to the FBI, Zig Heil to the CIA, and the Department of Justice. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.